$520,000. That's what both of them had. Same age, same savings, same retirement date. One of them will still have money at 84. The other won't. And here's what makes this story uncomfortable. The one who runs out of money didn't make an obvious mistake. He didn't panic sell, didn't get scammed, didn't overspend on a boat. He did what millions of retirees do in year one. He played it safe. Meet Mark, 64 years old, retired last January after 35 years in logistics management. He spent 3 decades building that $520,000, and he's not about to watch it disappear in a market crash. So he does what feels responsible. CDs, money market accounts, a little cash and a high-yield savings. Safe, liquid, predictable. Mark sleeps well at night. Now meet Linda. Same age, same $520,000, retired the same month. But Linda does something different with that money, something that makes her a little uncomfortable at first, honestly. She splits it. She structures it. She accepts short-term uncertainty in exchange for something Mark doesn't have. A plan that accounts for the next 25 years, not just the next 25 months. So which one of them is right? That's the wrong question. The right question is, which one of them actually ran the numbers? Stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll see exactly where their paths diverge and why the gap between them isn't measured in years, it's measured in decades. Same conditions. Mark and Linda, both 64, both retired January 2024, both with $520,000, no pension, no inheritance, no side income, both spending $4,000 a month, both collecting Social Security at $67, $1,800 a month each. For the first 3 years, they're drawing entirely from savings. The only variable separating their futures is where they put the money. Mark puts it all in cash and CDs. Linda splits it into 3 buckets based on time horizon. But first, let's give Mark his best case. Because for the first couple of years, he actually looks like the smart one. It's 2024. Interest rates are elevated. Mark's CDs are paying around 4% APY. His money market is yielding close to that too. He's pulling $4,000 a month. And his money is also generating income. He runs the math. He feels good. He tells his neighbor he doesn't need to risk anything in the market. And technically, he's not wrong. Not yet. In year one, Mark's $520,000 minus his $48,000 in withdrawals, plus his CD interest, ends the year at $492,800. He hasn't lost anything significant. He hasn't stressed about market volatility. He slept through every news cycle about rate changes. Mark feels like he won. Now look at Linda. Her setup is different from day one. Bucket one, $96,000 in cash, 2 years of living expenses. Liquid, untouched by markets. This is what she spends from. Bucket 2, $144,000 in bonds and conservative assets. Her bridge years 3 through 7. Bucket 3, $280,000 in a diversified equity portfolio. She doesn't touch this for at least a decade. She's not gambling, she's sequencing. In year one, Linda's growth bucket experiences some volatility. There's a month where she opens her statement and it's down. Not catastrophically, but down. Linda doesn't feel like she's winning. Feelings and math are different things. Through years 1, 2, and 3, the gap between them is real but not alarming. Mark has yield from his CDs. Linda has modest growth on her equity bucket and zero stress about daily expenses because bucket 1 handles that. Neither one has made a fatal move yet, but there's something Mark hasn't accounted for, something that doesn't show up on a CD statement, something that works slowly, quietly, and without mercy. It has 2 parts, and together, they don't just slow his portfolio down, they run it into the ground. Dear friend, we're getting really close to hitting 1,000 subscribers. And honestly, that makes me really happy. Our goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if this video is helping you in any way, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Help us hit that goal and become part of this community. Really appreciate it. Let's talk about inflation first, because it's the one everyone knows about and still underestimates. Mark is spending $4,000 a month today. At an average inflation rate of 3% per year, that same lifestyle costs $5,219 a month by year 10. That's not a disaster, that's just math. But here's where it gets uncomfortable. Mark's CDs are paying 4%. Inflation is running at 3%. His real return, the return after inflation, is just 1%. That's not a yield. That's barely a standstill. He's running on a treadmill, moving but not going anywhere, and the treadmill is slowly speeding up. Every year, his purchasing power erodes a little more. Every year, his fixed CD rate buys a little less. He started with $520,000, but in inflation-adjusted terms, that number is shrinking whether he withdraws a single dollar or not. Linda's equity bucket over the same period is historically expected to return 7% annualized before inflation. That's a real return of 4%. She's not just keeping up with inflation, she's outrunning it. But here's the second mechanism. This one has a specific name, and it's the one almost nobody talks about. It's called sequence of returns risk. Here's how it works. When you're still accumulating wealth, still working, still saving, the order in which market returns happen doesn't matter much. A bad year early, a good year late. It averages out over time. But the moment you start withdrawing money, the sequence matters enormously. Think about it this way. If the market drops 37% in year 2 of retirement the way it did in 2008, and you're pulling $4,000 a month out of the same pool where that loss just happened, you're locking in those losses permanently. You're selling low repeatedly every single month. You don't get to wait for the recovery. You need the money now. This is the trap, not the market drop itself, the forced selling during the drop. Now look at Linda in that same scenario. The market drops 37% in year 2. She doesn't touch bucket 3, not even close. She's still living off bucket 1, the $96,000 in cash she set aside exactly for this. 2 years of expenses, untouched, calm. By the time she starts drawing from bucket 2, the market has had time to recover. She never sold at the bottom. She never locked in the loss. Same market crash, completely different outcome. Sequence of returns risk is the reason a bad market in year 1 of retirement is exponentially more damaging than a bad market in year 15. And it's the reason all cash strategies, as safe as they feel, leave you completely exposed to a different kind of risk, the slow, quiet, compounding kind. Mark has eliminated market risk, but he has not eliminated risk. He's just traded one for 2 others. And we still haven't looked at what happens when we run both portfolios out to year 10 and year 20. That's where the real gap appears. Let's run the tape forward. We're going to look at 3 checkpoints: year 5, year 10, and year 20. Same starting conditions, same withdrawals, same inflation assumptions. The only difference, where the money was allocated on day 1. Year 5, Mark is 69. He's been drawing $4,000 a month, now closer to $4,502 adjusted for inflation. His CD rates have started to come down as the rate environment shifts. He's reinvesting at lower yields. His portfolio, after 5 years of withdrawals and modest interest, sits at approximately $401,305. He's still fine, still solvent, still sleeping well. Linda is 69. Bucket 1 has been replenished once she moved money from bucket 2 into bucket 1 after year 2. Her equity bucket, left untouched, has grown to approximately $392,714 on its own. Her total portfolio, roughly $433,705. The gap at year 5, approximately $32,400 in Linda's favor. Not catastrophic for Mark, not yet, but watch what happens next. Year 10. Mark is 74. Social Security kicked in at 67. That $1,800 a month has helped, but his withdrawals still exceed his income. Inflation has pushed his monthly expenses to $5,219. He's been drawing down principal steadily. His portfolio now sits at approximately $285,956. He's doing the math for the first time and feeling something he hasn't felt before: a low-grade anxiety. Linda is 74. Her equity bucket, the one she didn't touch for a decade, has compounded at 7% annualized. Even accounting for one significant market correction in that window, the recovery brought it back and then some. Her total portfolio, approximately $404,366. The gap at year 10, approximately $118,410 in Linda's favor. That's not a rounding error. That's not recoverable. This is the moment Mark's strategy reveals its real cost. Not a dramatic collapse, a quiet compounding divergence, the result of 10 years of inflation erosion, suppressed yields, and zero participation in equity growth. He didn't lose, he just didn't keep up. And in retirement, Not keeping up is losing. Year 20. Mark is 84. Linda is 84. Mark's portfolio under this projection is fully depleted. It crossed zero before age 84. He's dependent on Social Security alone. $1,800 a month. If healthcare costs have taken their toll, and statistically they will, he's making decisions he never wanted to make. Linda's portfolio at 84 still has a positive balance. Her equity bucket, left to compound for 2 decades, did the heavy lifting. She has options. She has flexibility. She has the one thing money buys in retirement that nobody talks about enough: dignity. The gap isn't just numerical. It's structural. It was baked in on day one when Mark chose to optimize for comfort in year 1 and Linda chose to optimize for survival in year 20. But before we call this case closed, there's one more thing to address. Because Mark's strategy isn't stupid. It's just misapplied. There are specific conditions, real, legitimate conditions, under which an all-cash or CD-heavy strategy in early retirement makes complete sense. And if those conditions apply to you, Linda's approach might actually be the wrong one. Let's look at when Mark is right. Let's be fair to Mark. His instinct isn't irrational. In January 2008, someone who retired and put everything in a diversified portfolio watched that equity portion lose 37% by March 2009 while still needing to pull $4,000 a month to live. That's the nightmare version of sequence risk, and it happened to real people. A cash-heavy strategy is genuinely defensible under 3 conditions. Your time horizon is short 10 to 12 years, not 25. Your guaranteed income already covers most of your expenses, making your portfolio a buffer rather than a lifeline. Or you retired into a historically overvalued market and you're holding cash temporarily with a clear plan to redeploy. That last word, temporarily, is doing all the work. Mark's mistake wasn't choosing cash. His mistake was treating it as a permanent strategy. The bucket strategy doesn't eliminate cash. It contains it 2 years of expenses, always protected. The difference is that Linda's cash has a job. Mark's cash became the whole portfolio. Here's the honest verdict. Linda's strategy wins in most scenarios over 20 years. A structured bucket approach dramatically outperforms all cash in expected outcomes, inflation resistance, and portfolio longevity. But most scenarios is not all scenarios. 3 variables determine which path is right for you: how long you'll need the money, how much of your expenses are covered by guaranteed income, and whether you're retiring into an overvalued market. Run those 3 numbers honestly. The answer lives there. Mark didn't fail because he chose cash. He failed because he chose cash without a transition plan, without a time horizon, without a sequence. Linda didn't win because she took risk. She won because she took the right risk in the right bucket at the right time. What if you're 58 and still deciding between maxing your 401k or paying off your mortgage early? The math on that one is even more surprising. Same starting point, same savings, same retirement date. At 74, Linda has $118,000 more than Mark. At 84, Mark is out of money. Linda still has options. The difference was made in year 1. Not by taking more risk, by taking the right kind of risk, structured and separated by time horizon. You're not managing money anymore, you're managing time. Mark optimized for how year 1 would feel. Linda optimized for what year 20 would look like. One of those is a retirement strategy. The other is a hope. And one more thing, we're trying to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if this video helped you in any way, consider subscribing to the channel and helping us hit that goal. I truly appreciate it. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.